Well, we had a nice weather day, although the wind still hung around for a while. But now things are going to start to go slowly downhill, and it's going to culminate with a coastal storm for late Friday and lasting through much of the weekend. We're going to talk about that. We also have a severe weather risk for tomorrow in parts of the Tennessee Valley and the Deep South. We'll get into that too. And who knows what else we'll get into tonight on the Joe at Joe Weather Show podcast, which you can support if you shop on Amazon. Be great if you could use our link that's pinned to the top of the chat board. It's also on the descriptor to this podcast. It's very simple. Just search and shop for whatever it is you're going to get. And Amazon will send us back a little bit of coin for sending you there. But most importantly, it doesn't cost you a cent. And it keeps the Joe and Joe Weather Show podcast advertise free. So you don't have ads popping up in the middle of the show. So there.
Yes.
So you had some wind for a while this morning, right?
Yeah, it was still rather breezy when I took the dog out before noontime, and I say to myself, gee, I said I promoted today as a day not quite as harsh, and it did eventually turn out that way. The afternoon was nice. Temperatures close to 50, blue skies, bright sunshine, much less wind. The wind is such a big factor in comfort, but going to be a cold night tonight, Joe. Maybe not as cold as last night. I got down to 28 degrees here this morning, and
Same here.
than that tomorrow morning. And then, as you said, we've got a coastal storm to deal with for the end of the week into the upcoming weekend.
Yeah, it doesn't look like it's going to be a wrapped up animal of any kind. It's just going to be one of these sort of broad coastal lows. You'll probably have an ocean wind to deal. You're going to have an ocean wind to deal with, but I don't think it's something that is going to get really out of hand. But it is just going to make things gloomy doomy for, well, I think, from later Friday, for sure on Saturday, and maybe even for much of Sunday.
It would appear, and I would agree with you, that the worst of this, at least I said on my Facebook page, I think the worst of the storm in terms of precipitation will probably be from midnight Friday night to noontime on Saturday. During that 12-hour interval, that's when the rains are really going to come down hard. Up until then, uh, the rain will be more like light rain and drizzle. And actually, yesterday I was thinking that the rain might arrive here by midday or early afternoon. Now it looks like, with any luck, it may hold off until after nightfall. Although I am mentioning, at least for western sections of the Hudson Valley, the arrival of rain toward the end of the day tomorrow. Then tomorrow night, light rain, drizzle, and fog. Friday, light rain, drizzle, and fog. And then the rain will ramp up during the overnight hours on Friday and continue into the first half of Saturday. Then Saturday afternoon, back we go to, again, more light rain and drizzle, more of that for Saturday night, more of that for early Sunday. And if we're really lucky, and I'm not even certain about this, but maybe by later Sunday, the system will release enough of its activity on us to allow for maybe some pokes or breaks of sunshine, although it may just as well be that we could still have some spotty light rain and drizzle even until the end of the day, Sunday, and
Yeah.
we may have to wait until Monday before we finally get any kind of a decent clearing around here. So, hope you enjoyed the sunshine and the nice weather today because it's going bye-bye and won't be coming back for a while.
And in the meantime, we also have maybe some severe weather possibilities tomorrow in parts of the Tennessee Valley and in the Deep South. This is a little bit of a different setup, though. We were talking about this yesterday. We've got a cold upper air trough that's dropping southward, and it doesn't have the usual inflow of Gulf moisture. It's dry here across the south. There's not a lot of time for the atmosphere to saturate. You don't have the ingredients for a widespread outbreak, but you do have the potential with an upper low and a strong April sun, and there's just enough instability and dynamics there that there could be some stronger thunderstorms, maybe some gusty winds and some hail. But again, I don't think this is not like what we saw last week, and this is not going to be some sort of widespread outbreak that goes crazy for several days.
Yes. The one thing I think with the onshore flow here locally, the east or east southeasterly wind, that we may preclude any kind of convection, any kind of thunderstorm activity locally here in our neck of the woods, even during the time when the rains will be coming down heaviest late Friday night into early Saturday. It looks like it's going to be just a flat out straight rain and not, those bursts of showery, heavy rain with a bit of lightning and thunder thrown in.
I totally agree with you.
Yes, well, thank you.
Welcome to Wyatt. John must have made some money in the stock market today because he hit the tip. He hit the tip jar again. Thank you, Quiet John.
Okay, well, thank you, Quiet John. What else can I say?
No, you're supposed to say that. You you know him
Well,
personally,
he knows I am most appreciative of all of his contributions.
and so am I. Thank you, Quiet John. Welcome tonight to everybody on the chat board, and to those of you who are lurking in the background on tonight's Joe and Joe Weather Show podcast. We're glad you're here. Sunday through Thursdays at 7:35 p.m. We had an 8 o'clock start tonight because Joe and I had to tape an episode of the new podcast that we are part of, which is Weather Legends. And as soon as that show is put together and on YouTube, I will share the link on the community page here on YouTube as well as on various other social media platforms. So subscribe and turn your notifications on so you don't miss us. And of course, if you like the show, hit the like button because it's always nice to be liked. Isn't that
Yeah,
right, Mr. Rayo?
yes, it is.
Because we're very needy weather people, you and I. We don't have a whole lot going on at all, really, in the watches and warnings map. There's some red flag warnings up in the Dakotas and in Nebraska, parts of Colorado, and a few counties in Kansas, and a few places where we've got some flood advisories because of, for example, in Kentucky and in western Tennessee and eastern Arkansas, they're still recovering from the big flooding rains they got with the severe weather from last week. And there's snow melt going on in the west in the mountains. So that's why you have flood advisories up in northern Nevada and in a few counties in Oregon and in Wyoming. But otherwise, up and down the eastern seaboard, it's very, very quiet. Skies are clear tonight from Maine down to Florida for the most part. A little bit of cloudiness along the east coast of Florida in some places. And it's also clear if you go west all the way back out to California and even up into parts of the Pacific Northwest and the plains. But you can see the energy here that's around the Great Lakes, and that's part of this upper trough. In fact, the rotation is back up in North Dakota. That is, it doesn't look like much now, but over the next 24 to 48 hours, as it dives southeastward into the Appalachians, it's going to amplify, and then you're going to start to get um, a surface development from there. That's going to be the weather maker for the Northeast and Mid Atlantic states for Friday, Saturday, and Sunday.
And we shall see how long that weather maker is going to be with us. As I just noted at the top of the show, this could be a long duration event from, well, if you're looking at it from the standpoint of precipitation from day's end tomorrow to maybe the end of the day on Sunday. And that's a long period of time, kind of a depressing period where you look outside and you just see nothing but, fog, rain, drizzle all the time. But that's what we're looking for in the coming days. So just be ready for it.
Since you mentioned that, um, with respect to rainfall, if you're talking about rain over 3 days, you think maybe you're going to get a lot. But WPC, I mean, they're spreading out about an inch and a half to maybe some 2 inch amounts. A spread over 3 days, Joe, that is not going to be problematic.
No, it's not. Not indeed.
And
Um,
in fact, when you look at the overall rain profile in terms of the total precip being forecast, you're looking at 3/4 of an inch to an inch and a half from southeastern New England down into Virginia. I mean, we've seen cases like this. If this were a really wrapped up nor'easter that was going to stall out and just pump moisture endlessly, this certainly could have been
as
something
long as you
that would have.
don't, as long as you don't get it all in one big, 3 or 6 hour interval. If you get like 1 or even 2 inches of rain, you just spread it out over a couple of 3 days. That's not going to do any damage whatsoever. In fact, it's what we like to see sometimes in the summertime. We say we could sure use a gentle soaking rain. Well, this is going to be a gentle soaking rain, but again, it's spread out over more than uh, more than 24 or 36 hours. So that's okay. If you take all of that and jam it into a 3 or 6 hour period, that's a whole different story altogether.
Anthony Orr bangs the tip jar tonight. Thanks, Anthony. Most appreciated. Our hurricane statistician and other stats that Anthony feeds to us here on the Joe and Joe Weather Show podcast. Actually, if you look at the whole map across the United States over the next 7 days, there's not really a whole lot from the standpoint of rain. Even in the areas that are forecast to maybe get some severe weather tomorrow, which we'll go to show you Storm Prediction Center in a second. But even in those areas, we're talking about a tenth to a quarter of an inch, maybe some places further east into Tennessee and eastern Kentucky, a half to 3 quarters. Because again, you're not getting this sort of tropical inflow into all of this where you're producing these thunderstorms that can dump several inches of rain. These uh, cold air, low top thunderstorms, which you see a lot of times in the spring in the Northeast and in the northern mid Atlantic states, are not big rain producers. So this is why you're not seeing anything crazy there. Actually, just go west of there from the Mississippi River west, it's bone dry to the west coast. Uh, some heavier precip up across northern Idaho, Montana, North Dakota into Minnesota, and then kind of going up into central Canada. But that's just about it from as far as that goes. And the Storm Prediction Center, let me just back up for a moment. No severe thunderstorms are forecast for tonight, but tomorrow, SPC has a marginal to slight risk from lower Ohio, southern Indiana, and Illinois, and Kentucky. It becomes a slight risk in Tennessee, especially central and western Tennessee, small portion of southeast Missouri, eastern Arkansas, the northern halves of Mississippi and Alabama, and northwest Georgia. I'm in a marginal risk here, and that extends up into the southern Appalachians. And then after that, uh, Wednesday, the next day, day three, Friday into Saturday, a marginal risk, southern Virginia down to North Carolina because of the way the storm is evolving. The low center is going to pass well to the south. Here's another example, Joe, where the low goes to the south before it
Yep.
turns. But this one's going to actually try to climb, unlike the systems in the wintertime. And after that, SPC's got nothing in the low range. So, and the upper pattern would suggest that the severe weather issues should not be a big deal going forward over the next week or so.
Yeah, it's kind of amazing the number of coastal systems that have passed to our just, well off to our south or just to our south. But this one, you're right. On Saturday morning, the storm is going to be it's going to be to our south, but it's going to be relatively close by to our south, which is why we're probably going to get into that period of heavy for Friday night on into the first half of Saturday.
All right, let's look at what's going on upstairs on the upper air maps tonight. And you can, this is for this evening. This is what it looks like on the GFS. I've been using the European a lot lately, so I think I'm going to stick with the European and see and go with that. And you've got this low in Labrador, this upper low in Labrador that's going to pull out, but it's immediately be replaced. You can see there's a amplifying shortwave, that growing area of blue across Indiana, Ohio, Kentucky, and Tennessee. Now that's the mechanism that's going to trigger off the thunderstorms tomorrow and the potential severe weather. But again, the Gulf is kind of cut off here. And then that trough is going to push eastward. It's going to try to cut off probably somewhere in Virginia, maybe, and then start to slide out to the east offshore. This is Sunday morning. The upper low is right on the coast. It's hard for me to imagine, Joe, that weather conditions are going to improve. Now, this is Sunday morning, okay? So if we look at how the upper low is structured, The upper flow, of course, being counterclockwise around it. The winds aloft are basically from the southeast Sunday morning. And it's not until we get into Sunday night, I think, that the upper low is far enough east where we could start to get into some drying. So, how Sunday turns out really is going to depend on how fast that thing moves out to the east.
Well, sometimes in the on the backside of these coastal systems, you get these breaks in the clouds or rifts in the clouds, or the precipitation stops and you get a little thinning of the overcast. So I'm trying to be positive in this regard, and maybe just maybe we might get into a little bit of clearing before the weekend is completely shot to hell, so to speak.
So to speak. And once that pulls out, we actually, Monday looks okay, but then we got another upper trough that's going to be coming into the east on Tuesday. So this is another shot of colder air for Tuesday into Wednesday, and then that lifts out, and here comes another short wave. Actually lifts out and then rotates up and around, and there's another short wave that comes into the northeast late in the week, and then that pulls up, and then the flow gets kind of flattish or west southwestish as we head past, to say, April 21st, 22nd, and beyond. Some ridging in the eastern part of the United States, with the low supposedly cutting off near between Nova Scotia and Newfoundland. We're sort of in between here. But again, looking at this overall pattern, it suggests to me that it's basically when you're not below normal temperature wise, you'll be near normal or maybe a little bit above normal for a day or so, only to go back down to below normal again.
Well, the thing that many people may be looking forward to is Monday and Tuesday, mid 60s on Monday and maybe close to 70 perhaps on Tuesday, but it's going to be short-lived, as you just mentioned, because of the fast flow, because everything is propagating so rapidly across the northern tier United States. Uh, the next cool down, along with brisk winds, probably will arrive by this time next week, by midweek on Wednesday of next week. So we have maybe a 2 day respite with dry and relatively mild weather before we go back again to cooler than normal conditions and brisk conditions for the middle of next week.
So here's what it looks like on the surface. The lead short wave pushes some showers into western Pennsylvania, maybe even a little bit of snow there in parts of Michigan and southwestern New York. So we'll see clouds come in, and maybe there could be a shower or two tomorrow evening. You can see there's still some patchy stuff around, but the main energy goes to our south. And of course, you see what happens when the upper low gets down, that cold, unstable air gets down into Kentucky and Tennessee and Alabama. The European, it's firing up some patchy areas of thunderstorms. And as we said, SPC's got that severe weather risk potential. The surface low will form somewhere in South or North Carolina. And since it's kind of blocky, the low is going to be forced northeastward and offshore. And you get the surge of rain that moves northward Friday night into Saturday afternoon. That the bulk of the rain's probably going to be in that time frame. Then after that, it's going to really depend on where's that surface low, where's the upper low. And you can see the surface low just kind of meanders a bit here off the coast of Virginia, south of Long Island, right into Sunday morning and early afternoon, and then starts to pull away. So the rain looks like it'll probably be mostly done. But as you said earlier, Joe, in a case like this, when you've got those northeast winds that are coming around a low that's to the south, and sometimes that's going to pin. A lot of times that tends to pin a lot of low clouds. You get patchy light rain or drizzle. That's kind of how I see Sunday. And yeah, if it pulls out far enough, you get a little drying. If the wind turns more north northeast, that maybe you get some breaks of sunshine mid or late afternoon. I would think that that would be the one, that window where you have that opportunity. If not, you'll just have to wait for Sunday night and Monday when the low pulls out far enough and you clear out. Then you set up for a nice day on Monday, and then you've got this weather front that comes through Tuesday morning. But the colder air probably doesn't get in until Tuesday night. Actually, that's what will happen. You'll get to 70 on Tuesday when the sun breaks out with the northwest wind and then chill down. Kind of looks like there's a secondary front that comes through Tuesday afternoon, late Tuesday afternoon and evening. You see those showers there
Yeah.
in
Yep.
central PA down into West Virginia. So there's some kind of secondary front. And of course, there's a lot of isobars, so that means the wind will be back Tuesday night and Wednesday with another cold high that comes down into the eastern part of the United States. And then we kind of do it all over again to some extent on Friday, next Friday with another front, and then turning a little colder, but not as cold as the air mass for Wednesday into Thursday.
So
It's pretty.
we'll see how this all pans out. I will tell you that Climate Prediction Center (CPC) has, and I think the New York area is included in this, slight possibility of hazardous temperatures or chillier or colder than normal temperatures for the middle and latter part of next week. I think Wednesday through Friday of next week. So no sooner do we get the
Are you there, Mr. Rail? Am I still here? Oh,
chillier.
Joe. Oh, there you go. You froze up there for a second. Your internet must have taken a hit.
Oh well,
Oh, my internet might have taken a hit.
okay.
I think
Well,
we're back. Go ahead.
I'm
Finish your.
still I'm
Go-
still here.
Yeah, finish your thought. Go ahead.
No, I just what did I say? I said that no sooner do we get into a spell of balmy weather, nice weather, mild weather from Monday and Tuesday, with again temperatures in the 60s and maybe even touching 70. But then again, it turns much colder again for Wednesday, and the Climate Prediction Center has a chance of they call it hazardous temperatures, colder than normal temperatures, if you will, for the middle and latter part of next week, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. So
And by the
again,
way, if you look at the
mild and it turns cold.
and if you look at the temperature anomalies, I mean, this is what we're dealing with today. The whole east was below normal, and tomorrow a little less so, but the northeast down into Pennsylvania, New Jersey, Maryland, Delaware, into Virginia, still below normal, but not that far below normal. And then, of course, with the coastal low and the upper trough, you're going to have, you know, relatively raw. You're going to have raw conditions here once the rain gets underway Friday night through Saturday. And in fact, you can see the temperatures are being indicated to be more than 10 degrees below normal from Massachusetts down into North Carolina on Saturday. And then as we go into Sunday, if it breaks out, then you kind of, go back closer to average. The one thing about this time of year is when you do have the sun out there, if you've got a, if you're not in a cold air mass, the temperatures are going to try to really shoot up. And there's Monday, which is above normal, and then Tuesday is above normal for most of the day. But you see that big area of blue that comes down from central Canada, spreads across the Great Lakes. That's a pretty decent shot of cold air for Wednesday and for next Thursday. Probably might be another 2 days where temperatures have a tough time getting above 50, I think.
I think yes,
Yeah.
indeed.
Yeah. And then the one for next weekend, not as robust, just covers the northeast into the northern mid Atlantic states. And then after that, it's kind of like, close to normal, a little below on some days, a little above in others. It is spring. And as we know, spring is the V word, Joe, volatile.
Well, you've always said all these years you never liked spring.
Oh,
I
I
mean,
hate
from
it.
the standpoint of
Well, let me take that back. Now that I live here, that's some really gorgeous days. But spring in the Northeast, down to about maybe you get down into, you got to get really down in North Carolina or south to be safe. But in general, spring in the Northeast and in the northern mid-Atlantic states, it's just a it's just a miserable time of year, particularly the first half. It gets a little bit better when you get closer to Memorial Day and you get into June, because although you can get into one of these stretches where it gets, you get these northeast winds and a cold high to the north, where, in June, we've had days in June where it doesn't get out of the 50s. And that's just really depressing. When it does, it immediately goes up to 80. But Yes, spring to me was just not a nice time of year.
So we can't do anything about it. So we might as well just take it as it is.
Well, exactly.
How did you,
Let's.
by the way, how did you get over there? Normally I'm on that side, aren't I?
Oh,
Or
I know. What happens is that when we took the internet hit, it switches.
oh,
It
okay,
goes back to where how it starts. So I have to switch it back.
all right.
So now I've just switched it back.
There we are.
Would you like me to pivot again?
No, no. It's just nothing. I just you know. No, you're getting me dizzy now, Joe.
I know. You have Briller Jeopardy tonight, I think.
Yes, I do. And I'm going to find it and get it, and we're going to play it. Um, hang on for a second. Takes me a little time to do this. Yes, here we go. So, on this Briller Jeopardy tonight, ladies and gentlemen, what is the latest measurable snowfall in the following cities? And in this particular case, we're not talking about a trace of snow. We're talking about a snow amount greater than, at or greater than 1/10 of an inch, zero point 0.1. What is the latest measurable snowfall in the following cities? And we'll start with Central Park.
I'll say April 25th.
Well, you're pretty close. It actually is a little bit later than that, believe it or not,
The latest for measurable.
for Central Park. Right.
Right, and it's got to be it's over a trace, correct?
Correct. We know
Okay.
that the trace, we know that there was a trace of snow on May 9th at Central Park, but that's not a measurable amount.
Right, that happened a couple of times.
Yes.
Mike Waterhouse Bonsai says April 29th.
And Mike Waterhouse Bonsai is correct. April the 29th at Central Park. Scott did not provide the amount of snow that fell on that
I,
particular
I
day.
know there's a 3-inch snowfall in late April. I don't know if that's the one.
That could be the one then. Yeah,
Yeah.
that might be. In
Okay.
fact, wait a minute. If you want to hold on for just a second, hang on.
Please enjoy the music while your records are being checked. La 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 la. La 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 la. Mr. Sandman, bring me
Um,
your dreams. Boom 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 boom.
no, I don't have it in this.
You
I
don't
thought I
have
had.
it?
I thought I had it in this booklet. But oh, wait a minute. I may have it in this little booklet. Hang on.
Please enjoy the music while other records are being checked.
I've got all kinds of stuff here, and it's just a matter of finding. Or I really should collate this so it's more easy to locate here. No. All right. I thought I had it, but I don't. Sorry.
Okay. What's next?
Burlington, Vermont. The latest measurable snowfall.
I'll say May 15th. Where'd you go?
I'm here. I'm still looking. I'm still
Oh,
looking for that.
I'll
May
say
5th.
May 15th.
That's a pretty good guess for Burlington, Vermont, but it's a little bit too late in the calendar.
Vincent Croce says May 3rd. Harold Olson says May 14th. Firefighter Jimmy 132 says May 5th.
Northern Grace with May 11th is in Snake Country.
Oh, okay.
So that
So that's going to make it May 12th, Mike Waterhouse Bonsai.
and May 12th, once again, Mike, I'm going to give him another ring. I'm going to give him a ring for the first and the second
Well,
here.
Northern Grace gets a ring too because she got it close.
All right, well, there's the ring for her. There it is, right there. Okay, so how about Philadelphia?
Philadelphia. Hmm. Philadelphia, I will say. So New York City was April 20. I'll say April 23rd.
April 23rd? Not quite deep enough into April.
Oh, really? Okay.
And
Um,
Mike Waterhouse Bonsai, who says April 26th, first time he did not hit it on the nose, but he's in snake country with April the 26th.
Firefighter Jimmy says April 28th.
He's in snake country too. So what does that
So we know that that means it's, I know, Joe, April 27th.
mean? Absolutely. Now, how about Buffalo?
Oh, God. I'll say May 2nd.
Wait a minute. Hold on for a second. I have a discrepancy here. I have a discrepancy, ladies and gentlemen.
Please enjoy the music while your discrepancy is being checked.
An almanac of New York City, and this goes back to the year 2023. In April of that year, they had a little tidbit, and it does not vie with what the chairman has for the latest measurable snowfall in Central Park. The chairman said it was April the 29th, the latest measurable snowfall at Central Park. However, an almanac of New York City, and maybe Scott can check this out or recheck it. According to this booklet that I have before me here, it's not April the 29th, it's April the 25th.
That's what
April,
I said.
April 25th, 1875. So in New York City's latest measurable snowfall, more than a trace, when 3 inches of snow
I
fell.
told you, I told you, did I not say April 25th?
You
You
did.
need to, I want a bell ring. Will not
Well,
proceed with
I'm going to
this.
give you a bell ring for that.
Thank you.
And we're going to ask Scott to recheck his
Right.
data, but because we have a discrepancy here. But this booklet says April 25th, which sides with Joe Chiaffi. And it says, according to the New York Times, they referred to that day as, they called it, quote, a touch of winter in the heart of spring. And it was also April of 1875 was the snowiest April on record. No, it was not 1982. 1875, snowiest April on record at Central Park with 13.5 inches of snow for that particular
Yeah.
month.
You're right, Craig Carlberger. We had a controversy. Controversy.
Yes, a discrepancy.
Yes.
Oh, whatever.
Whatever.
So, what about Buffalo? Did we get Buffalo yet?
Yeah, I said I just said like May 3rd.
Whoa, Joe, too early.
Oh, really? Okay.
Again, this
Uh,
is according to the chairman here.
all right. Maggie P said May 10th.
Still too early.
Okay. Brady G says May 27th.
That's too late.
Patrick Darcy says May 25th. Harold Olson says May 20th. Jason Fox says May 15th.
Who said May 20th? Harold
Harold
Olson.
Olson.
He gets the bell. Ding, 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 ding. All right. Congratulations to Harold. How about number 5, Boston?
Boston. Oh, God. I'll say May 4th.
Not late enough.
Not late enough. Okay.
Yeah.
Uh,
By the way, the chairman has said he apologizes that the May 25th date is indeed correct. So
Jason Fox said May 12th. Northern Grace says May 8th. Alan says May 10th.
but Vincent Croce is correct and gets a bell ring for May 10th.
And so does Alan, May 10th.
There you are. And the bonus on
Notice.
this Wednesday evening is for
Notice.
Portland, Maine.
Portland. Oh, God. I'll say May 20th.
Too late.
Too late. Okay. Um, let's see. Okay, Brady 111 is May 27th, so that's too late. Mike Waterhouse Bonsai says May 10th. Chuck Cardillo May 11th. Patrick Darcy May 15th.
Chuck
Vincent
Cardillo. Chuck Cardillo, we can stop it right there.
Chuck
May 11th.
Cardillo.
There you go, Chuck. That bell ring is for you.
Is that it?
And that's it.
And that's it. And you know what? We're it. Time to go.
All right.
Once again, thank you very much for from Quiet John and from Anthony Orr for hitting the tip jar tonight. Most appreciated. And we'll be back here tomorrow night at 7:35 p.m. Eastern time, so regular time tomorrow. And then we're off for 2 days, so we'll see you tomorrow night. And Maggie P says Denver's is June 2nd,
Oh, wow.
2.03 inches. That's
Well,
late.
it's like sounds almost like an old Bob and Ray bit where Bob is interviewing somebody from Bondurant with Wyoming, and he said, "It must get rather chilly out where you are." And he says, and Ray, who's doing the falsetto voice, says, "Oh yes," he says, "we have winter right on into August."
All right, everybody. We'll see you tomorrow night. Bye bye.
I bonds.
Which they did today, and stocks. See you tomorrow.
Good night.